In this video, we're going to cover the 3 things that your 10DLC campaign is missing. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So first, let's define 10DLC A2P. So 10DLC just stands for 10-digit long code. These are the phone numbers that we're all used to, that we use in our everyday lives, where the first 3 digits correspond to an area code within the United States. Now, what about A2P? That means application to person. So the only difference here is that if you are a business and you want to use some type of software application to reach your customers, your 10DLC number needs to be provisioned, which is just an industry term, for 10DLC A2P, application to person messaging. So this is different from P2P, which is if I were texting my wife or my friends, whatever the case may be, that would be P2P messaging. A2P messaging, application to person. So how does a business get a phone number to submit via application to person messaging? Well, it's a great question. So to go through that process and to obtain a phone number that you can use to talk to your customers, you have to go through what's called the 10DLC registration process. This is a 2-step process. The first step is your brand registration. This is essentially just verifying the information that you are submitting as part of your business. So this is your company name, your EIN, the type of organization via private profit or a public company, not-for-profit, etc. Having all of that information submitted, comparing it with an IRS database that is essentially a database warehouse of all of these companies within the United States. And if this information submitted matches up, you will get a big thumbs up in the form of a brand approval. It'll say brand verified. What about campaigns? So the campaign review process happens by a direct connect aggregator or a DCA. There are 4 of them within the United States today. They are upstream of your messaging provider. So Signal House, we work with 3 of the 4 DCAs to be as redundant as possible and to have the best carrier connections that we can possibly have. And so what we do when someone submits a campaign to us is we first review it and then we provide it upstream. That upstream review is going to be a manual review that is done by an individual at the DCA. So it's going to be a human being actually reviewing your campaign submission. So it's really important that you have all the details dialed so that anyone, even just a normal average Joe working a 9 to 5, can review it. It's very easy for them to hit approve. So without further ado, let's now jump into the 3 things that your campaign is likely missing and how you can fix it. So the first one is that you do not have sample messages for each of your use case. So let's talk about sample messages. Sample messages are a requirement when you are submitting your 10DLC registration. This is a way for the reviewer to see the type of messages that a recipient could receive if they opt into your messaging. Now, the key here is that there are different messaging use cases. Think marketing, customer support, account notifications, 2FA, etc. Your sample messages should correspond to your messaging use case. If you have a mixed campaign use case, your sample messages should be to each of the sub use cases of that mixed use case. So if you have marketing, customer support, and account notifications, then you should have at least 3 sample messages, 1 for each of those. Now, a pro tip here is that if you want to register any kind of links with your account, you can do that in the link submission within the campaign registry or with your messaging provider. Now, here's the pro tip though. You can put those links as a sample message. Now, an additional pro tip here, never use a bit.ly short link. If you're going to use a short link, use a registered short link like Signal House's registered short link or the registered short link that your messaging provider has for you to use. So that's the first thing, is that your sample messages do not match up for your use case. Now, what about the second thing? So the second thing that your campaign is missing is a compliant privacy policy. So this is something that is a massive priority for the DCAs to review, is your privacy policies, so that all of the recipients to your messages know exactly how their contact information is being used and if it is being shared or sold. So the key here for a compliant privacy policy is twofold. So the first thing is put an SMS disclosure in your privacy policy. You can put this at the top, at the bottom, anywhere. Just have a header that says SMS disclaimer or SMS disclosure. You should copy the information in your CTA, which we're going to go ahead and talk about here in a little bit. So a little bit of a spoiler for number 1. but you can basically restate your CTA or your call to action and message flow that you're submitting as part of your campaign. You can essentially copy paste this and restate this in your SMS disclaimer. The important aspects is that you say who you are. For us, it would be Signal House. What does your organization do? You're a messaging provider, or you sell landscaping equipment, or whatever the case may be, whatever your company does, put that down. What the message frequency is, what the cost is, how they can opt out of your messaging, how they can get help if they need help. The other thing is the sharing and selling of data. So the campaign registry, the DCAs, the carriers, all of these organizations and these third-party oversight groups and everything else that work within the TNDLC space, they care so much about sharing and selling of data because they want to protect consumers who maybe want to sign up to learn more about your lawn care equipment, but they don't want you to sell their data to anyone that has anything tangentially related to do with lawn care. And so for a compliant privacy policy, the second item that you need is one of two things. It's either an overt statement that we do not share or sell data to third parties for marketing and promotional purposes, or if that is part of your business, that is totally okay. You do need a disclaimer, though, that says SMS opt-in and text opt-in will not be shared or sold to third parties. So one of those two statements, whichever one is the accurate one, you will want to put in your privacy policy. So now, without further ado, the number one thing that your campaign is missing is a compliant call to action, or CTA. Now, this can either be in the call to action and message flow that you're submitting to your messaging provider, or on TCR if you are a campaign service provider or a CSP, or the CTA that is on your website. Your call to action must have these 6 essential components: the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, and the cost. So the who are you? Who am I consenting to when I am receiving your messages? So this is just your legal company name. The what is what type of messaging you are sending. So customer support, customer care, or marketing, whatever that type of messaging is, you have to have that. The when can I expect messages from you? Generally, this is going to be message frequency may vary, but if you know the frequency of the messaging, it's a set cadence or schedule, you should definitely put that. The where can I find your privacy policy? So if this is in the call to action and message flow on your submission of your campaign, you'll want to link your privacy policy in the privacy policy section there anyway, but you can also just say the privacy policy is found on the website. Here's a link to the privacy policy, just to make sure that you have checked all your boxes. On your website call to action, you should link your privacy policy in that call to action. Generally at the end, you can view our privacy policy linked here. How can I opt out from your messaging, and how can I get help? So stop to opt out, help for help. Those are the essential things for how. Pretty easy. And then the cost. Message and data rates may apply. So those are the 3 items that your campaign is likely missing. And if it is, that is a reason that you are getting rejected. And also how to fix it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If it was helpful, please share it to people. We are offering educational material 5 days a week for anyone in the messaging ecosystem to make sure that you are able to get quick campaign approvals and that it is a fully painless process. So subscribe to our channel. We will be back again tomorrow with another video. We generally do webinars on Wednesdays. So we're going to be diving into tomorrow a webinar all about Go High Level and how you can get verified on Go High Level prior to Signal House's exclusive Go High Level application releasing later this quarter. So thank you so much, and we will be back very soon.